winter.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, okay. And then I also, when I got into it, realized that I need time to research and improve and look into things. So that's why I decided that I would release episodes late spring through October and then take the winter to research and study, improve my tech and all that good stuff. So it never goes away, but I'm not necessarily always releasing episodes, and I'm very happy with that.
How do you find your guests?
Well, so far, all but one of them have been an artist that I've met at a show. And there's not a lot of rhyme or reason to it. Like, most of the time I'll be walking the dog and I'll think like, oh, I really should have this person on. And then I'll kind of start thinking about what I want to learn from them or what I'd want to talk about. And then I have a little spreadsheet and I put it down on there. And it's been great because everyone that I've had but one artist so far I've met at a show. So I've was totally comfortable pinging them and asking them to do the show. The only person I didn't know was Sean Ellis, who's based out of the UK. And I was so excited to get someone outside the US. So it was really exciting to interview her. And I saw her stuff on Instagram and it was just this feeling like you need to talk to her. And it was a ball, and it was fun, having the experience too of kind of cold reaching out to someone that I already have a relationship with, because I knew as my show grew that that's something I would have to do. But I haven't nearly touched as many on the list that I want to. I have a spreadsheet and I have so many ideas. It's just hopefully in season 3 maybe I can increase my output, but there's a lot more that I want to talk to, and I want to add more travel in there. I would love to talk to someone that's on the committee for Anoka Halloween. That's totally on my list. I thought about this year, but with COVID and things being kind of, I was I want to talk about it in a normal year when everything's full throttle, and I don't want any COVID stuff in my travel. So yeah, I have a lot of ideas, and I've started to get to a point where people are now telling me ideas, which I love because that's what I want.
So you had good reception on the show?
Yeah, and the one thing that I found surprising is I've actually had more artists reach out to me than collectors. When I originally started the show, I was like, oh, I'm doing this for us collectors. And I've gotten a lot of response from the artists. People say oh, they... And not that they're necessarily Halloween artists, but they're creative too. They're like, oh, I listen to your podcast while I paint. So that's it. I've also
good compliment.
been able to meet or establish better relationships with some of the other collectors too. So it's fun, because it's fun reaching out to other collectors online and after the show, messaging them on Facebook. What'd you get? And and that sort of thing. That's part of the fun too.
So far, so good. Great. So how will Halloween be spent this year, considering we do have COVID?
I have 2 ideas. I haven't decided between. Idea 1 is we have a very steep driveway. And we live in a typical kind of planned urban development suburb. And the houses on the other side of the street have flat driveways. More people go on the other side of the street. So I don't know if you've seen on social media, a lot of people are sharing pictures of the candy slides. So it's they take PVC pipe, they take a skeleton and take a PVC pipe so you can slide the candy down.
Oh.
So you don't have to and I'm like, that is an awesome idea.
Wow.
For us in general with the steep driveway, because no one wants to come up it. I'm like, that has nothing to do with COVID. Maybe we should do that. And then I thought, well, maybe it doesn't need to be a skeleton PVC pipe. And then I get this great idea, what if we put a cutout coffin and it had little coffins on wheels and put the candy in there and rolled them down. I don't know if there's enough time for that. But so something along those lines. But the other thought is, with COVID, one of the things that's become popular in different areas, including ours, is the food truck movie outings. So there is a local organization that puts they're like food truck festivals with a drive-in movie. And on Halloween, they have Rocky Horror is one option at one location, and Book of Life at another. And it's so well organized. You like drive. I saw Edward Scissorhands with the same organization, and it's so awesome. Like they're really good at getting the cars spaced so you can see. And then you order from the food trucks on an app, so you don't even have to wait in line, and you put in your parking space number and they bring you the food. So part of me's like, well, that would be really fun. I need to look up because my boys are 8 and 10. So obviously Rocky Horror is not appropriate, but they have a daytime showing, and I don't know if I can be like, oh, this movie's really boring. You guys can sit in the car and play video games. So, or we just go see Book of Life. I don't know, but it's either a candy slide or a drive-in movie this year.
Do you have normal traditions with the family, like watch certain movies or do certain activities?
I like to watch lots of movies. Yeah. Like one that always comes up every year is like at least one viewing of Hocus Pocus, like yeah, and Beetlejuice. Like those are kind of my tops. And usually, I mean, it's pretty low key. I love to pass out candy. I know a lot of the adults in my neighborhood like to get together and party, but I'm like, I gotta man my house. Yeah. So what I like, we order pizza, we get the boys ready, we get me ready, because like, of course I'm dressing up.
Of course.
And I'll send my husband, the boys off to trick or treat, and they love candy, so they'll go out, and I love passing out the candy. Like, I don't need to go to a party. Like, I want to pass out candy, and I want to see the kids, and I love it. It's awesome.
It's a great tradition. Do you do any of your own original Halloween art?
I've made some things, but no, I would like to someday, not professionally, but now that I'm on my like sabbatical, I've taken a couple of art classes. I'm like, I might make. I think where I am like interested, I don't have the skills today, but something I'd like to try is making a Halloween tree skirt, because I have some ideas in mind that combined my love of cemeteries and cemetery symbolism. And I thought, oh, that could be like really cute to have this, like, I picture this black Halloween tree skirt with these like really cool Victorian funeral symbols on it. So it's in my head. I don't have the skills yet, but maybe I will someday to actually like take it from a dream to reality.
Yes, I would buy that. All right, we're coming towards the end. And some of my usual questions are, do you think we all have an artist inside of us?
I think so. I think it's different for everybody. I think for some people it's sleeping. And the reason I say that, I think when I was working at my job, which was a wonderful job, it just wasn't my fit anymore. I feel like there was like a creative part of me that was sleeping because it wasn't being stimulated. And I think unfortunately for some people, they let that side sleep, or they're not aware that they have it. They could awaken it. And you don't have to like think of it as a traditional, like, go play music or paint a painting or get into photography. It can be just, you can wake up that artist to, well, make your like PowerPoint presentations better with better graphic design, or just, and not everything has to be something you're paid for, your career. It could just be things that make your life better. So yes, I definitely think everyone has an artist. Everyone has a different way to express it. And unfortunately, some people need to wake theirs up.
Very true. Any advice for original Halloween art collectors, podcasters?
Oh, tons of advice. Well, the first one is with podcasting. With podcasting, I'd say if you think you want to do it, just research it first. It is wonderful. It has offered me so many opportunities. I've met wonderful people. I've collecting art, knowing the stories and the struggles and all the things that the artists have done to bring their art to fruition it's enhanced my life. It has enhanced my collecting experience. And had I not gotten into podcasting, I would have known a little bit from reading bios or small talk during the shows, but I wouldn't have had an idea. But I say, my advice is, if anyone thinks they want the podcast, it's a lot of work, and don't podcast to podcast. Do it because there is something you just love or really want to become very knowledgeable in, because some of these shows, like the least I've ever heard is someone said it takes them 3 hours to make a 1 hour show, which that's on the low end. Most people I know that an hour of an edited, produced podcast is about 10 to 12 hours of work. So I'm not saying don't do it, but think before you jump. And as far as collecting original art, like, and I don't just collect Halloween art, but that's obviously my passion. I am all for it. And it's just a different relationship and experience when you get into it. When you buy something mass produced, it's just not the same magic as someone's like hopes and dreams, some like Victorian fabric that they had in their drawer for 15 years that they weren't sure what to do with, and all of a sudden like the things just aligned and it came together in this perfect piece, and it has a story to it. And yeah, there's like responsibility around that. So I want to see more people collect original art of all kinds, because there's all different kinds for all budgets. There isn't any reason to be scared because of the costs. Like there are lots of ways to work on that if that's an issue. So I want to see more people making art and more people buying it.
Me too.
Yeah, all right.
That's because the artist matters. Haha. And the art matters. Well, we're going to get to that. That's the next to last question. But people can connect with you and your podcast where we'll have it in the show notes, but just in case they are listening right now and they want to connect.
Well, if you go in your favorite podcast app and just search for Halloween Art and Travel, come up in there like Apple and Streaker and Radio Republic and TuneIn and all those. And then my website is HalloweenArtandTravel.com.
That's right. And you're on Instagram and Facebook too, I think.
Yeah, same name.
Check them out.
And if you want to see, what people that are into cemeteries like, that's not Lost Gone Before, and I only do that on Instagram, and you can see the results of my poor family. We driving around, and we see like some random cemetery at the side of the street, and I'm like, stop! I think it's old. It might have something cool. I gotta go take some pictures so you can regale yourself there.
All right, and the final question: why does art matter?
Well, I'm going to expand this to say, why does art and design matter?
Okay.
And it's omnipresent. Like, you can't get away from art and design. So I am sitting in my office now, and yes, I have some pieces in here that would be defined as art, but I also have like a water bottle and a book and a computer, and I'm sitting in a chair, and clothes, everything on me, someone had to dream up and create or design. Like literally what I'm sitting at, the desk, the architecture of the house I'm in, and even nature. Nature is a big old artist too, with all her colors and design. So it's omnipresent. We cannot exist without it. And try to imagine a world without art or design, and nothing would exist. It's the very essence of being a human in nature. Can't get away from it.
So true. Well said. Well, thank you so much, Kristen, for being on the show. Finally, check her out at her website, listen to her podcasts, and collect some original Halloween art. Support the artists because they matter, and Halloween matters all year round sometimes, right? For you.
Definitely.
All right. Well, thank you once again, and enjoy Halloween.
Thank you. Happy Halloween to you also.
I told you that was such a fun and interesting conversation we're going to have. Learning so much about cemetery art. I mean, just looking at her Instagram site, you know, the art that's put into tombstone and all those things, it's really fascinating. It's beautiful work. Some of these tombstones and the angels and things they create, it's just fascinating. But so much more. I mean, her collection is something, and it's great to have an art collector on the show. First art collector was really, that's her main thing, but also a podcaster. I want to hit some of those locations like Anoka, Salem, Sleepy Hollow. That would be really something to do once we're in a coronavirus-free world. Makes it kind of hard to really get into it, but this is one way of doing it. And so listen to our podcast,